Today is just our imagination. Hi, my name is Cindy, aka Z9designs. I have 3 items that I am transforming into some amazing pieces. However, you need to keep watching. So relax, get a cup of whatever it is that you love to drink, and watch what I will do. Or maybe you can tell with what I have on. Just my imagination. DIY number 1, clay flower holder. Supplies needed include clay, a pattern rolling pin, lavender acrylic paint, rub and buff, and some floral tacks. This one was made from various colors of paint, but a woman has a right to change her mind. I rolled the clay on a Dollar Tree mat and some parchment paper on top. I rolled it out until it was about maybe 1/8 or inch thick, or maybe a little bit more. Once it was rolled out, I used a paper plate to make a circle. Then I took the pattern rolling pin to make the imprint on the clay. And I had to roll it maybe a couple times to make sure the pattern was really imprinted. And then I needed to make sure that the circle was still as it should have been. If it wasn't, then I just put the paper plate right back on top. And I just took an X-Acto knife to cut around the clay. I formed a pocket that would house flowers. So what I did was I rolled it over on itself to make like a little pocket. You can also use water to smooth out any places that you may not like. I made an opening on the back side so that I could hang it on the wall. So I just took a stick and made a little opening in the back. I let it dry overnight, and then when I looked at it in the morning, it still was a little wet on the other side, so I had to let it dry for another 8 hours. And to hold the shape, I just reused the parchment paper that I used on top, balled it up, and stuffed that in the middle so it would continue making the pocket. Then I tried several colors of paint. I think I did plaster. That didn't do anything for it. I put a green. I really didn't like that. And so I settled on the beautiful color of lavender. I gave it 2 coats and let it dry. Now, the other thing that I did, I added a little bit of baking soda in the lavender so it would give it a little bit more texture. I gave it 2 coats and then I just let it dry. And after drying, I took some rub and buff and I just highlighted the imprints that were made from the rolling pin. And I just happened to have some faux lavender flowers that I think I had gotten from Dollar Tree or somewhere some time ago. Anyway, it was in my stash. And so I just took that and put that inside of the pocket. And I hung it on the wall. How charming. Let me know what you think about this DIY made from clay. Just our imagination is where we are informed that we should make something out of clay, wood beads, and a zipper. The hosts are Rustic and Lace and Little Oliver and Kathy Jo DIYs. The guest host is DIY with Aria. This month, the challenge is using clay, beads, and a zipper. Now, these crafters are on point, bringing you their best. So be sure to subscribe, like, save, and comment on their channels. The link to their channels is listed in the description box below. There are other crafters that have made some very interesting DIYs. So please subscribe, like, save, and comment on their channels also. The link to the playlist is in the description box below. On to DIY number 2, Zipper Dragonfly. The supplies needed include some hot glue or super glue, leather, some clamps, silver pin, dragonfly wing template, magnet, and scissors. I printed a free template of a dragonfly wings and cut it out. And I placed it on top of a piece of leather from Joann Fabrics for 60% off as they're going out of business. Now, this was just a little piece of leather. It was pale turquoise, and so I thought this would be great as wings. So I laid the template on top of the leather piece, and I just cut it according to the pattern. Now it was time to work on that zipper. I cut off the fabric side of an 8-inch black and silver zipper. The zipper was unzipped about 2.5 inches, and then I rolled the very ends, and initially I used hot glue, but it ended up looking awful, kind of gumpy with the hot glue. So I used super glue and just clamped it, and that looks a whole lot better. And I hot glued it onto the leather wings, and I just laid it on top. Hot glued it, used a little E6000 on it. After it was glued and I was really sure that it was dry, I used a silver marker that I had in my stash, and I made stitching marks on the leather piece. Now it is very subtle, which is how I wanted it to look. Lastly, I took some magnets that I also had in my stash, and I hot glued it, and I also used some E6000 on the back of the Dragonfly, and I put it on my lampshade. It looks so gorgeous near a metal flower that is like the Dragonfly is going to land there, because they are not pollinators. They eat other insects like mosquitoes, which is good, but I still don't want them around. But I think it looks so cool on my lampshade. Let me know what you think about this. DIY number 3. I'm going to call this one a Be Happy box. The supplies needed include a Dollar Tree cutting board, Dollar Tree and Amazon rub-on transfers, and this is from my stash, half beads from my stash, 6-inch rods from my stash, tumbling tower blocks. I used 6.5 of those. That's from my stash. Plaster acrylic paint and a Dollar Tree wood palette. Now this is a box that I will put all of my Be Happy blessings in. And when I need a pick-me-up moment, I will remove one, read it, and let it bring joy to my heart. The Bible says, a merry heart does good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. This is found in Proverbs 17:22. I try not to be sad. There's too much happiness in the world for me, personally, to be sad. So I took a cutting board from Dollar Tree and I put some tumbling tower blocks on the bottom half. I put 2 on each side, and I put 2.5 on the bottom because I wanted it to be closed so that when you put something inside, it wasn't going to fall out. Then I took a pallet and put that over the tumbling tower blocks. And you know what's so cool? That pallet fits exactly over the cutting board and the tumbling tower blocks. So I used 8 half beads, and I put 1 on the left, 1 on the right on each slat on the pallet. After all of that was done, then I took some plaster acrylic paint and painted the front of the slats, the half beads, and the rods, and the cutting board. But I wasn't done with it yet because the palette has openings between each slat, and I kind of wanted that closed. So I took 3 rods that I had and covered those openings. And would you know it, ladies and gentlemen, those rods fit perfectly on top of the palette. It's like some of these things from Dollar Tree are just made to fit each other. Once I was happy with the color, I looked in my stash and I found an old circle with flowers were yellow and some hearts, and they were also yellow, kind of like a golden yellow, and the rest of it was black. It is so pretty. And you know, I've had it for a long time and I was wondering, what in the world am I going to do with this? I mean, I had it when I first started crafting, but I went with it. I had this old circle with the words happy and another word, which I cut it out, so I don't even remember what it was. And so I cut out the happy, and then I found a bee from my Amazon rub-ons, and I cut it out and placed it in the middle of the circle. So it says, be happy. Then I put flowers on the slat. There weren't enough of them, and so I cut them in half, and I put one on the first slat, skipped the second slat, and then I put half of the flower on the third slat and the bottom half on the fourth slat. And then Mod Podge was used to finish the Be Happy bin. I received a card from a friend last week, and I put that inside my Be Happy bin because it was so sweet. It said, "Blessed are the givers, and grateful are the receivers. I thank God upon every remembrance of you." Philippians 1:4. And then there was a little note. If you have liked what you've seen, give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Save and comment and let me know how I'm doing. Crafting is a lot of fun, but it can be challenging also. And with all of the chaos in the world, crafting gives me a calm spirit. Therefore, if I give you a piece of my mind, I may not have any left. So the quote of the day is, "Do not let the behaviors of others destroy your inner peace." See you later. Bye-bye.